It's a new day and we have a new all-time high for Bitcoin with over $1 billion in spot ETF inflows. But I'm getting very annoyed with these wicks. I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about in today's video, but it seems like we are struggling at the previous all-time high. In today's video, we'll be talking about whether or not we can see some more continuation here to really kick off the last leg of this bull market cycle, or if there may be a short-term correction that we have to consider. Either way, I think we go higher, and corrections should be seen as opportunities to make myself abundantly clear. If you enjoy the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. Let's jump right into it. And as per usual, kicking us off with the Bitcoin chart, you can see exactly what I'm talking about here. We are right below the previous all-time high, which is around 124.6K. Now, in the 4-hour time frames, we keep on breaking above, but we keep on getting acceptance back below. We do not want to see continued acceptance back below this previous all-time high. Otherwise, that's when we'll get a little bit of a flush in the market before we can go ahead and move higher. Yes, I do think we'll move higher. And look, as I said in yesterday's video, you don't want to miss the forest for the trees. We got that extremely bullish weekly candle, but please Bitcoin, let's get confirmation above the previous all-time high on the daily time frame, that is. Every single time that we get there, it seems like we end up closing below. And now this led to a little bit of a correction today, but honestly, it's a correction for ants. I want to see how this plays out for me to navigate the market in terms of how I will be trading it with leverage. If we start to close back above this level and hold it as support, and we get some daily closes above that level, in my mind, we are going much, much higher. Now, there may still be pullbacks, but at least this would tell me that there's a ton of strength in the market. Speaking of strength, we have to talk about the Bitcoin spot ETFs. You can see that yesterday we got around 1.2 billion worth of Bitcoin spot ETF inflows. And to touch on this, the IBIT one, which is the BlackRock one, if you didn't know, is a hair away from $100 billion in assets under management. And this is also officially their highest revenue generating ETF in history. You can see here that based on all of their ETF revenues, this is by far the highest one at around 244.5, and it's only been in existence for 1 year. Look at all of these other ETFs, 25 years, 24 years, 25 years, 20 years, 22 years, and so on and so forth. If it wasn't already clear to you, Bitcoin is indeed the future. Now, back to the charts, I really just want to see us get acceptance back above the previous all-time high, 124.6K. I want to keep it extremely simple. We need to hold that level on the daily time frame for us to see continuation. Now, from the lows here, some would say that this move is quite extended, and I would tend to agree. However, taking a look at the Bitcoin exchange liquidation map, on the 1-day time frame, there's actually some more shorts piling into the market. Every single time that Bitcoin wicks and makes a new high and then comes back down, shorts seem to be piling into the market. We also have on the 7-day time frame, more clearly, longs are piling in, and on the 30-day time frame, it paints the same picture, which we've been covering video after video after video. But the point is here, in the short term, people keep on trying to catch the exact top, and that includes myself. I want to be perfectly honest. I actually tried to short the Bitcoin top twice, and I got my stop loss hit twice. And so now I'm not actually looking to short this. I want to see what the market gives us before I go ahead and make my next move. Every single time that we come back down, we're looking at shorts piling into the market. The time where we will get a more significant correction here perhaps, and then we bounce off to move higher, will likely be when all of the shorts start giving up. But you can see that on the 1-day time frame, it simply isn't the case. So maybe we keep on getting wicks to the upside, acceptance back below the previous all-time high, and then eventually we do get a sharper correction, but we'll have to see how it plays out. Right now, we are at the top of the range, so I would recommend that you exercise a little bit of caution, because typically when we get to the top of these ranges and we get acceptance back in the ranges, it could signal a little bit of a correction before we go ahead and move higher. But let's see how it plays out. So long as more and more shorts pile into the market, it's highly likely that we keep on grabbing some upside liquidity. So if you did manage to get a very strong short position above these levels over here, I would highly recommend that you put your stop at break even, just so you don't risk losing any capital, because I do think that if more and more shorts continue to pile in, we will just keep on going up and then come back down. But as I also said, it's very clear to me that we are indeed moving higher, and I'm starting to look at some other plays in the market, which I will be sharing in my upcoming videos. Right now, though, I do need you to pay attention to Bitcoin dominance because a lot of people are now talking about altcoin season. Still not that convinced. Look, I made it very clear. What do I want to see from Bitcoin's perspective and from the total crypto market cap's perspective? I want Bitcoin to lead the way. This is the best case scenario for altcoins. I will repeat myself. The best case scenario would be if Bitcoin breaks out here and we keep on breaking out, Bitcoin leads the way, we have Bitcoin dominance continue to increase, meaning that Bitcoin outperforms the rest of the market, and then when we finally get closer to that top, we end up just chopping around these levels, distributing, and that is when altcoin season can finally commence. I want to see Bitcoin dominance actually move up from here, and we were always expecting a move from these lows simply because historically we always seem to bounce from around the 57% level from Bitcoin dominance. You can see year after year after year, but if we don't make it up here, and we can't hold above 60% Bitcoin dominance, then at that point in time, maybe we get rejected from the bull market support band, and this starts triggering altcoin season. But honestly, this would be the more bearish case in my opinion, because it would mean that the beginning of the end is much, much closer than most people are willing to admit. Something else I wanted to show you here is the fact that gold did cross above $4,000 per ounce for the first time in history. Gold is actually outperforming everything at this point in time. Maybe Peter Schiff was right. And we also have the fact that the US government shutdown pushed investors to Bitcoin as a safe haven asset, Bloomberg reports. But then we start getting into the conspiracy theories about whether or not we should be listening to the government here. But ultimately, I do think that Bitcoin is a safe haven asset. Something else I wanted to show you in today's video, guys, retail is nowhere to be found. Bitcoin keeps on making all-time highs, and the social risk is at absolute lows. We're literally at zero. This continues to be very, very interesting, and I think that a lot of people got wrecked in those previous cycles, suggesting that it's becoming increasingly more difficult and it will require a much higher Bitcoin price to get some more momentum from retail. Now, for this cycle, I wouldn't expect us to make it all the way up to this one risk metric, because this is usually when we get that full-blown altcoin season. However, if we can make it back up to 0.5, then at that point in time, that could be a pretty interesting position to actually consider exiting from altcoins. And I will be talking about some altcoins in my upcoming videos, but right now I am still heavily allocated into Bitcoin and Ethereum, as well as my stable stack, in preparation for maybe a potential shakeout before we go ahead and move higher. Ultimately, what we really want to see here is simply getting the daily close back above that previous all-time high. How hard can it be? We keep on wicking to that level, and honestly, it's quite frustrating from a trading perspective because, as I said, I was actually trying to short this, but every single time that we make an all-time high, it seems like we wick above and then we make a new all-time high, and then it seems like, okay, the confirmation is there. We're moving much, much higher, and then we come back down and get acceptance back within this range. Let's see how it plays out. So far, this daily candle isn't that bad, but we want to just get that confirmation. So I'll let you know as soon as that happens. And if you want real-time updates, you also have my Telegram community down below. And if you want my own personal trade setups in this market, when am I entering altcoins? When am I considering swapping some of my Bitcoin for altcoins, leverage longs, etc.? You have that first link in my description down below. This is exactly how I'm navigating this market. You click this link and then it'll bring you to my Telegram. You send me the message premium, and I would be happy to onboard you into my free premium group. This is where I share all of my own trade setups. And remember, the only requirement is that you sign up with one of my affiliate exchange links, whether that's Bluffin or Weeks. You start trading on there and you're good to go to join my group. The first link in my description down below. Now, last thing I wanted to show you here, obviously with gold making a new all-time high, $4,000, I mean, the market cap just continues to explode, but I do think that in our lifetime, we will see catch up by Bitcoin. Bitcoin will likely overtake gold, in my honest opinion. It will just take a few cycles to get there. Now, last thing I wanted to show you, remember in yesterday's video, I talked about how the total 2 crypto market cap was actually on the verge of a breakout, and we wanted to get a daily close above this $1.71 trillion level. This was a crucial level, and we did get the daily close above that level. As you can see, a pretty solid candle here. And now it seems like we are continuing. We are making all-time highs for the total crypto market cap, excluding Bitcoin, which means that we could be on the verge of something very, very special in this market. So make sure you're prepared. But before I wrap up this video, I have to make it extremely clear that we are not in the clear quite yet. We need to see Bitcoin hold above this level. And so long as this previous all-time high continues to act as resistance, there's always the chance that Bitcoin can go ahead and move lower. What a move to the upside from the lows. Honestly, massive move. Very happy from a spot positioning, but I wasn't able to catch this long. And so if you're waiting for a long in the market, some might say this is enough of a pullback, but in my honest opinion, the risk reward simply isn't there as we are at the top of the range. If, for example, we end up having a breakout, there will be a point in time where we come back down and revisit lower levels after that breakout, and this could end up being a long trigger if that's what you're looking to do in terms of trading. So that's why I'm not particularly stressed and worried about getting into a massive Bitcoin long here, because we are quite overextended from the lows. Most of your favorite influencers are probably telling you that it's full risk on now and there's no drawdown here, but I'm just being a little bit cautious. I hope you can appreciate that. That sums up today's quick video. I mean, Bitcoin just needs to reclaim that previous all-time high on the daily time frame, and we look very, very good for continuation. However, so long as we're below that level, we can potentially expect some kind of pullback before considering to go long into the last leg of this bull market cycle. If you enjoy the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video.